Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by X-Cancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. Today's show is the top 3 ways, my top 3 keys that Nebraska can use, okay, on offense. They got a whole lot of new pieces, new coaches, new players, new things they got to figure out. They got pieces to the puzzle. How are they going to put them together? My top 3 keys to Nebraska's offense, putting the pieces that they have, that they've acquired, that talent that they've got, into a puzzle so they can have a successful fall for Nebraska's next football season and going forward. All right, I got my top 3 keys. But first of all, let's look at some of the things. Let's look at some of the pieces, some of the pieces to that puzzle that I've talked about that they got to figure out how to put together and do it quickly. And it has been done before. In fact, it was done by 2 college football teams very successfully last football season. I'll talk about them here shortly. But let's look at the quarterback position. All right, Adrian Martinez, he started like 1 million games in a row. He's no longer here, as we know. 2 new quarterback transfers, Casey Thompson from Texas, Chubba Purdy from Florida State. Logan Smothers, the only individual in that quarterback room who started a game for Nebraska in their career. You've also got Heinrich Harbor. Don't forget about this. Don't forget about any of these guys. This guy's uber talented. Big arm, good frame, a little bit of a gunslinger mentality, deceptive speed. Don't forget about the walk-ons and other guys in that room like Matt Masker. Look at the running back position. I mean, it's crazy. They got 7 guys on scholarship. There's no clear-cut starter. In fact, there's no top 3 at this moment in time. Who might those top 3 running backs be? Mark Whipple has said that he likes a 3 running back rotation. It's what he did in the NFL. It's what he did last year in Pittsburgh, where they won an ACC championship, went to a New Year's 6 bowl game. They have a new running back, and JUCO running back. All right, Anthony Grant, a guy to keep your eye on. You look at the wide receiver position. And I've talked about this, and I'll talk about it again. Insanely talented. Omar Manning, number 1 JUCO wide receiver in the country when he came to Nebraska. Trey Palmer, number 2 wide receiver in the entire country coming out of high school. Elite track speed. All right, you got Xavier Betts, who may be the most all-around talented receiver. All right, Frost has talked about how Omar Manning has to kind of put it together mentally, how Xavier hasn't entirely been there the entire time. Trey actually got benched during his time at LSU with Mickey Joseph. Obviously, feelings aren't too bad because he followed Mickey here to Nebraska. So much talent, nobody proven. Alante Brown is the guy who's emerging as a leader this offseason. Oliver Martin, a guy who was a 4-star, went to Iowa, transferred to Nebraska. A lot of highly rated guys, but not a lot of starts between these guys. Okay? How do you put these pieces together to this really talented puzzle, if we're being honest? I mean, you look back at Anthony Grant, JUCO Player of the Year. You look at Casey Thompson, quarterback position, led the Big 12 Conference in touchdowns and played over half the year with a hurt thumb. You look at tight end position. Travis Vokolek is absolutely the odds-on favorite to start, and that dude's tall. I mean, a gigantic target. All right? And hopefully a second tight end emerges, maybe a guy like Thomas Fidone. Again, incredibly talented, highly recruited, coming off an injury, should be good to go by next fall, 100%. The offensive line's a little bit of a crapshoot, if I'm being honest. You kind of got to start from scratch. You got one guy who played well last year on any sort of a consistent basis, and that was Newell Newilly. You don't even know if he's going to play center or guard right now. You start to talk about some of these pieces to the puzzle. Turner Corcoran, left or right tackle. Bryce Benhart, guard or tackle. I'm advocating he should be moved to guard just based on his feet. Not that he can't move back to tackle someday. You got transfer from, Northern Colorado, Kevin Williams, big dude, guard or tackle. All right, this is a guy who has started nearly 20 games in his career. Then you got Hunter Anthony, Oklahoma State transfer, guard or tackle. Kevin may be more of a guard, Hunter may be more of a tackle, but they could go either way. All right, he's played in 23 career games, talking about Hunter Anthony, 5 starts, played in all 12 games last year for Oklahoma State. You got the center position. All those guys have talent and ability. All of them are big dudes. All of them were highly recruited at some point. Maybe not Kevin Williams, but I think he's proved he deserved to be higher recruited when he came out of high school. He's an Omaha North grad. Okay, overlooked at the time by Nebraska. Who in the heck is going to play center? Who's going to replace Cam Jurgens, who was absolutely our best offensive lineman a year ago? Okay, you got Trent Hickson, Ethan Piper, Newell Newilly. Frost has mentioned other guys that played center in their past. So you've got talented guys, but you have insanely unproven guys, and you don't even know where you're going to put them yet. And Frost has said he wants to get his 5 best blockers across the board. So some of these guys may be moved to positions they've played before, but they may not be as familiar with. 5 best blockers sounds good to me, as long as the snaps are still good. That was a problem nobody enjoyed. Oh, there's other guys in that room. Another guy I might bring up, I've heard good things about, is freshman Henry Lutovsky. Very strong. And again, I'm hearing good things about him. You look at the coaches. We have several new coaches, as I'm sure you're aware. New offensive coordinator Mark Whipple, wide receivers coach Mickey Joseph, running backs coach Brian Applewhite, offensive line coach Donovan Raiola, new special teams coach. No, this isn't a special teams show, but Bill Bush. Frost is in a new role. He's stepping back. He's not calling the plays. He's turning the offense over. He's an offensive guy. Okay, how's he going to do in that CEO role? It's going to be an adjustment for him, all right? You look at a new offense. Now, you look at teams just a year ago who had success in doing a whole lot of new things with a whole lot of new assistant coaches, all right? You look at Michigan, Jim Harbaugh. All right, he brought in 5 new assistant coaches. Kind of a cool, little tidbit of info here, all under the age of 39. I don't know if that matters. Just thought it was interesting. They won their first Big Ten East title ever. Did you know that they never, ever won a Big Ten East title since the Big Ten had gone to 2 divisions, where there was leaders, legends, East-West? I thought that was kind of crazy. All right, for winning their first Big Ten championship, all right, since a Big Ten championship game, and then won that game since the Big Ten went to 2 divisions. All right, also a college football playoff appearance. You look at Baylor. Dave Aranda hired several new assistants last year as well. What did they accomplish? The Big 12 championship, beat top 5 Oklahoma State in that game. And I could be wrong, but I believe Baylor had their backup quarterback in that game too. Won the Sugar Bowl, New Year's Six bowl game, beat a top 10 Ole Miss game, and actually knocked their starting quarterback out of the game in the process to beating Ole Miss. And they finished with a top 5 ranking in the final poll. So I'll tell you what, a whole lot of new things, whole lot of new moving parts. 2 teams did things last year that Michigan had never done, which was playing a Big Ten championship game and win it, go to a college football playoff. And Baylor hadn't won a Big 12 title in a while and hadn't been this good in a while, okay? And they were able to do it the first year. They had a whole lot of new pieces to their puzzle, and they were able to put it together. So here's my 3 keys, all right? And keep in mind, I've seen where, and I agree with these rankings, I've seen where Nebraska has the 4th most talented, is rated as the 4th most talented roster in the Big Ten Conference, and number 1 most talented roster in the Big Ten West. So the pieces to the puzzle for the 1 millionth time are there. Got to put them together. Here are my 3 keys to how they can put them together quickly for this fall. Number 1, everybody has to have the same goal in mind. All right, so I've been on teams where some guys were just there for the attention. No lie, my freshman year, we had another freshman who was redshirting. He literally wore his Nebraska jersey to the mall and just walked around trying to pick up chicks. Thought the Nebraska jersey would do it. I think he had some success, but he was kind of an ugly dude. Hey, if you're watching the show, Mr. Blank, I won't say your name, it's the truth. All right, number 2, some guys, and I'm all for getting a degree, but some guys use football as a means to just get a degree, and football's not their priority. Hey, I'm all for getting a degree, man, but if you're on the football team, it's got to be a priority. Those guys aren't the majority, but I have seen it. You got guys, as I'm sure you're aware, it's all about the NFL. And if my team's good, whatever, but I'm about getting to the NFL. What you've got to have is everybody with the same end goal in mind, okay? Yeah, I could say that for a youth sports team. If you've got coaches and parents with the same end goal in mind, with non-selfish goals, that team's going to be a lot more fun and successful. Same thing NFL, same thing high school, same thing college. Okay, and I'll never forget when I talked to JoJo Doman. He came back, and all those guys on that defense came back a year ago because they wanted to be great on defense, and then they were going to use that to get to the NFL, not the other way around. They weren't looking at the NFL and kind of like, oh, whatever happens with the team. It was about team first, have success as a team. Better teams have more all-conference players, more All-Americans are higher ranked, and those guys tend to be drafted higher as well. I'm sure you know that, but it's got to be everybody with the same end goal in mind first. All right, number 2. Leaders have to emerge on that team. And they have talked about certain leaders in that locker room starting to emerge. Guys like Garrett Nelson, Alante Brown, Ty Robinson, who's more a leader through his actions, but that's fine too. More leaders have got to emerge within that locker room, on that team, from the players on the team. A coach can be a leader, but he's more a director. He's telling you where to go. When you're in the huddle with somebody and he's getting on you and he's got bruises and blood, sweat, and tears, it just means that much more. All right. Last but certainly not least, coaches have to do their job. We cannot be getting out coached. It starts by figuring out how to win close games. We're good at being competitive. We're kind of bad right now at actually winning. And that comes back to the coaches. All right, until next time, Husker Nation, go big red, and always remember, let me know if you like this show or not. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and always remember, throw the bug. This show is brought to you by X-Cancer. Join the fight at xcancerstore.com and support your loved ones, your neighbors, and cancer fighters all over the world and help them gain access to revolutionary treatments. xcancerstore.com has a wide variety of t-shirts and merchandise supporting a wide variety of cancer battles so you can show off the colors that matter. Proceeds from each purchase not only help those at home, but also cancer fighters in Tanzania, Africa. Check them out at xcancerstore.com.